I'll check if it's okay. Normally it's okay. Yeah, now it's okay. So let's start, guys. So we are going to see together the services of AWS. We are going to see what is AWS and what are the main services to use it. So, and we are going to conclude with some aspect of AWS and what we have seen and other consideration about geopolitical or Airbus consideration. So first, we introduce AWS to say what it is exactly. In fact, you have a lot of platform. You have, for example, Google platform. It's not a cloud computing platform. It's not complete. It's just a software service platform, for example. But AWS is complete. So it's a cloud computing platform used to manage and maintain hardware and infrastructure of resources. The main the main purpose of AWS, the aim is to outsourcing. So the best we can do with AWS, for example, for Airbus, is to have to all our infrastructure goes to the platform, and you don't have to manage or maintain servers in the site of Airbus. So we are going to see a consideration about it. We can see also that AWS is a cloud provider that offers a variety of services such as compute power. So it's complete compute power, database, also storage, content delivery, and other resources to help business scale and grow. So it proposes services, and the main service is EC2. Is the masterpiece of AWS. You needed to create instances. To be concrete, it's about a virtual machine, for example. So you have to use EC2 in the beginning of your project. You have to launch instances, so the VM, for example, define the US, for example, Linux or Windows. The instant type, so you have to define the CPU and the size in megaoctet or teraoctet. You have to define if it's temporary or permanent storage. The must case is the permanent storage to not lose your work, your job. And there is a concept also of location, if it's in available zone or regions. Region is geographic regions, and as available zone, it's about data center. So you have to also you can setting the security group, which is a firewall, and you have to determine if it's a network or fixed IP. It's another setting, and the payment, if you want to have a subscribe payment or ad hoc payment. So EC2 is the masterpiece. So you start with EC2, the main service of AWS. Lambda service, it's an instance with a function definition. So I put here a screenshot of AWS with the service Lambda use. So for example, you have Python lambda function. For example, you can do ETL, so extra central persona. It's interface between database and files, for example. So you can schedule program to interface or to extract data from files to database. So Lambda is a service, and it's compared to EC2. So I put here Lambda service here. Isra is the first service historically of AWS. It's what we know. It's a cloud for files. So when you need, for example, with your phone to store files, you can store it in your pictures or your video. You can store it in the cloud. For example, the Samsung Cloud or the iPhone, it's Apple Cloud. So historically, the first service, it was S3. So in S3, you have two concepts. The buckets are the folders, and the files are called objects. So typically, it's when you have how do you say that? Explorer of when it's compared to Explorer of files in Windows. Cloud formation, be careful to not make confusion between cloud formation and cloud front. Cloud formation, so you have support, you write a patterns in JSON, and the stake of services is generated by the system. And CloudFormation enables you to manage your complete infrastructure of AWS resources through a text file. So the patterns in the text files, and you put in your patterns in JSON all your infrastructure. For example, you put two instances of EC2, one service about S3, and EC block or other services. ECS. You have a demo in the link here in YouTube. So what is ECS? It's able you to maintain the availability of the application, allows every user to scale containers when necessary. So when you have environment of development, you have containers. For example, in Python or Java, you have containers. For people who know what is containers or know the concept or use it before. So you have containers, and when you have Dockers, you can use ECS to migrate migrate the environment of development. So ECS, it's for Elastic Container Service. It's a container management, so you manage the container in Dockers. It's a service which can quick launch, excite, and manage Dockers containers on the cluster. So if you have containers or containers which are not Docker, you can use ECS. It's prerequisite Docker to have ECS. So it's a way to schedule the placement of containers across your cluster. Cluster is the segment of the data of the server. It is scalable, of course. The main benefits of AWS, it's scalability, and you can't migrate application to the cloud without changing the code. So you respect the code, and you can migrate it to the cloud. What is Docker? So for people who know Docker, you know Docker, Roger? Can you explain us what is Docker? No?
Container, yes. Docker, no.
So Docker, you have maybe Rachel?
It is a container.
It is a container, Docker, yeah. It's a Docker management. So Docker is the tool to automate the deployment of an application, a lightweight container, so that the application can work efficiently in different environments. So you have the definition here. And as I said, it's a prerequisite to use the service ECS. So what we have to know is that the container image is a file. So you have it created in the environment of your PC, and you migrate it with ECR, the container registry. And next you have Amazon ECS on the VPC, and we are going to see what is VPC. Quickly, VPC, it's VPN in the cloud. It's okay. So route 53, it's a reference to the most famous street route in the United States, if I'm not.
I didn't hear about that.
La route 53, non?
Route 66.
Ah, route 66. Ah ben non, alors non. Ah, c'est route 66. Okay. A mistake for me. It's a route 66, not 53. It's just we don't have to go deeply in the definition of route 53. It's just a DNS server, so you map between URL and IP. So the name of the server and the IP of the server. So it's a DNS server. For people who know DNS server, or if you don't know what is it, it's just a server when you put the URL and the IP and map together. Beanstalk, quickly we can see the service. It defines development environment, so you can check between developers, for example. So it's you have to know that you must know that you have a lot of service to do the same thing in AWS. For example, you have Beanstalk to define environment, but you have also ECS, and also you can define environment and instance with EC2. So you have to know this concept that you have a lot of services, and you can do the same thing with the different services. So now a VPC is a VPN in cloud. You have a concept of available zone, it's the data center. The subnet is the subnet, so internet in a little internet in the internet. You have firewall, so the firewall here is the network RCL. You have also security group in the instance created in EC2. So you have two firewall, the network RCL and also the security group. The network RCL is defined in VPC, and the security group is defined in EC2. You have also the root table, so you can go in a public. You can propose your website, for example, in a VPC, and you can connect it with the public network or the private. You can also route the private network to the private VPN, for example. So you have VPC connecting with the VPN. For example, here we have VPN here in our center. So it's typically the VPN who is private, and you connect it to the VPC. Okay. SageMaker, it's simple. It's you can see it quickly. Is the service to perform machine learning in AWS. So you can configure settings. Sorry, you can setting the language, the environment in SageMaker, and you do machine learning. For example, SCP or statistic or clustering and other machine learning we know. Okay, so SageMaker is the main product for machine learning. Auto scaling, it's complete auto load balancing. Auto balancing, it's a reverse proxy. So you have an address, you put your address in the URL, the bar of your Explorer, Internet Explorer, and you have different address connected to different instances of EC2. So you have different cluster, and depending on the health of the server, you connect between the different server. So it's a way to optimize the request of internet in internet. So you have an address in enter and multiple servers to connect with, and it's setting with the auto scaling. Auto scaling it's a way to grow the servers. You put other servers to optimize the request of internet. So you have one enter, multiple servers, and auto scalings provide you to proceed with the scaling. So you grow your servers. Redshift, it's simply the data warehouse in AWS. Data warehouse is a warehouse of data, but it's not operational. It's a decisional way. So you have in the AWS Redshift, but it's very light. You don't have, for example, the power of a business object. Who know business object? Nobody no impromptu, no. So, for example, you have less features, less functionality than Excel, for example. It's just a way to make requests in SQL. You know SQL? SQL, you know SQL? Okay. So it's a way with the query editor is a feature to make SQL request queries. And Knowledge Cluster, it's the service who lets you make your servers clusters in servers. So you have two service. You have to quick launch cluster, open query editor. You have an editor, a feature to query, and you have a service to launch and to create the server and the cluster, the network of the data warehouse. So CloudFront, don't make the confusion with the CloudFormation. So CloudFront, it's a way to solve the latency of server of internet server. So what we have to know is the edge location. So you have here a user who make a request. He go through an application. He go to the CloudFront, who is interfaces with edge location and the web server. So the most important element is the edge location. It's in fact the cache memory of the files in the web server. So the edge location are AWS data centers designed to deliver service with the lowest latency possible. It works with cache. Amazon has dozens of these data centers spread across the world. They are closer to us than region of availability zone or availability zone, what we have seen in other in the VPS, for example, regions and AZ. So it's closer than regions or availability zone. It's also a data center, often in majority cities. So responsive can be fast and snappy. We have to know it's a cache in a data center. Edge location, it's cache in data center. So when you can find in the edge location the close data center, you have the response of the request. If you don't have, you request to the web server, and the web server update the cache and put the files in the cache in edge location for the next request. So it's optimized the cache and reduce the latency. This is the purpose of CloudFront. So here I put other and other link and link which service we have seen. So you have EC2, VPC, we have seen it. ELB, it's